Hello, I'm Amy Zawi with the Jerusalem Connection Red Alert Report for Wednesday, May 1. It is May Day. We are nearing the academic calendar year end for universities all across North America and Europe, and I have a few updates from some major institutions. NYU's Students for Justice in Palestine, the SJP, won an award, a presidential award given every year by the NYU administration to students or student organizations that have had an extraordinary and positive impact on the university community. Well, the SJP chapter of the New York University did indeed win that award this month, or last month in April. And they got the award for their exemplary contributions to the NYU community. While the administration, on initial pushback when this nomination happened, would not comment on it, they did win the award in April, and it drew the ire of Judea Pearl, a prominent Israeli-American computer scientist who sent a letter to the university president, Andrew Hamilton, renouncing that award. He said in his decision to renounce the award is in response to universities honoring the Students for Justice in Palestine with the Presidential Service Award, and he called on this student group one of the nation's leading voices in delegitimizing and demonizing Israel. SJP's chapters across the country promote the boycott, divest, and sanction movement against Israel on college campuses. The Anti-Defamation League has specifically noted that these chapters regularly demonize Jewish students who identify as Zionists or who are proud supporters of the State of Israel. Another group of pro-Israel students have officially filed a complaint against NYU with the Department of Education's Office of Civil Rights. The complaint was filed following the April 17th award ceremony, where the University Students for Justice in Palestine actually received the presidential award. Brooklyn College, also located in New York, had an Apartheid Week in April. Apartheid Week is an annual event on many college campuses that coincides greatly with the BDS movement's objectives and messages. They often have radical activists chant Hamas slogans, equate Zionism with colonialism, screen propaganda films against the Jewish state, and shout invectives about Israelis into megaphones. At Brooklyn College, however, a particular flyer was circulated by the SJP, the Students for Justice in Palestine chapter at that school, suggesting the entire Jewish state lacked legitimacy. Their flyer said, quote, "Come check out our recreation of the apartheid wall set up again by settler state Israel between occupied Palestine and current Palestinian territories." Noting carefully the words on the flyer, Camera on Campus fellow Alia Jacobson, who was a member of the camera-supported group on campus called Bulldogs for Israel at Brooklyn College, said, "This isn't about creating a Palestinian state, but it is about abolishing the Jewish state, and it assumes the whole land is occupied, which suggests that Israel shouldn't exist at all." Ms. Jacobson went on to say that basically what the SJP is calling for is the elimination of a 70-year-old member state of the United Nations. She went on to say that she and her group, the Bulldogs, believe that Israel Apartheid Week is about, once again, reducing Jews to a vulnerable minority position in the Middle East. She says, given the previous oppression and ethnic cleansing of Jews in the Middle East and the likelihood that this repression will reoccur, SJP's message is truly an appalling political position, and it is all hidden under a rhetoric of human rights. Ms. Jacobson, you have our prayers and support as you act as a bulldog for Israel's rights at the Brooklyn College campus. Cornell University is now, quote, normalizing anti-Semitism, and you can read about this in the aljamir.com online newspaper. Josh Abelman, a current junior at Cornell University who's also a Jewish student, chronicles his 3 years of his experiences and observations at Cornell, and the hostilities he had faced, the threats he had endured, and the lack of any response by the administration. Incidentally, a BDS agenda was voted down by the student body at Cornell, which is a good thing, but the result of that was swastikas all over campuses and lots of Facebook slurs against Jews on campus. And again, no particular pushback by the university personnel. Mr. Josh Ebelman would like to change that on campus. So again, he has our prayers and our support, and look for his article because it is quite disturbing, his personal experiences on the algeminer.com newspaper. The Ohio State University is also having an Israeli Apartheid Week in this spring, and they did it during the week that APEC was ongoing in Washington, D.C. Now, this is a consistent theme of BDS and Apartheid Week to choose times of the year where Jewish students or other groups of people that would support Israel and Jewish students may be off campus. For example, scheduling BDS student government votes on Passover or Purim or other times of the year where Jewish students are often off campus. And of course, during APEC week, where many Israel supporting students travel to DC for a week of conferences. But having the Israeli Apartheid Week or BDS movement votes happening while these students are off campus is a targeted way to exclude them from the discussion and avoid the debate or the pushback of any other voice to try to explain the truth. Just like BDS, Israel Apartheid Week has become a large part of the conversation about Israel on college campuses across the country. Similar to BDS, Israeli Apartheid Week is full of factually incorrect and misleading information. To schedule the events while students who would otherwise oppose it are off campus is a way of eliminating the conversation. At the University of Massachusetts, there is 80 organizations have written that administration to take away the university's sponsorship of an event happening this month. Lost the piece of paper, where the speakers include Roger Waters, who we all know is a prominent proponent of BDS and who engages performing artists all over the world to not engage with venues in Israel or with Israeli audiences. Women's March leader Linda Sarsour and professor and former CNN commentator Mark Lamont Hill, who is also known for his very public anti-Zionist for sure, and arguably anti-Semitic statements on social media and in interviews. Well, University of Massachusetts has three departments: the Department of Communication, the Department of Women and Gender and Sexuality Studies, and the Resistance Study Initiative at UMass. Well, they're sponsoring an event having these people come and speak regarding legitimate criticism of the Israeli government policies, comparing that with anti-Semitism. Now, of course, this is a disingenuous discussion because the discussion panel leaders are all one-sided. Again, 80 organizations have urged the University of Massachusetts and Amherst to please rescind their name and their resources as a sponsorship of this event happening in May. And the groups asking them to rescind this note that the events and the speakers will incite animosity towards supporters of Israel, including Jewish and pro-Israel students on campus. We have yet to hear from the University of Massachusetts Chancellor's response, but they also requested that University of Massachusetts faculty who may want to exercise their own free speech and engage in such seminars and conferences simply do not use the university's names or resources for their own personal political agendas. And this, of course, is an important thing to consider when the university is taxpayer funded because it is public. Let alone the fact that the human rights issues at play, discriminating and the hostilities and the threats against Jewish students and students who support the state of Israel as a result of these activities by these known speakers who are virulent against Israel and Jews in general. Let's be praying for these universities, their administrations, and the students on the ground who seek to propose and engage the truth and legitimate dialogue against these folks that seek to demonize and delegitimize the state of Israel. Shavua Tov, and have a great week.